On Law Weekly today, we feature discussions on the death penalty and the call for a moratorium. We have the weekly recap of the top legal stories from the courts. And in our interview segment, we chat with the senior advocate of Nigeria, Joe Kerry Gadzama. J.K. Gadzama, as he's popularly called, is desirous of leading the Nigerian Bar Association. In this interview, we talk about the discipline of lawyers, the much talked about negative perception that the judiciary, and especially senior lawyers, are clogs in the fight against graft, and much more. That's the lineup on Law Weekly today. I am Shola Shuyeli. It's been a very busy week in most courts across the country. Trial finally commenced in the case against the Senate President and a former Minister of the Niger Delta, Mr. Godsday Orubebe. We have a recap of these and other top stories from the courts.
We begin at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, which is adjourned till April the 18th, the continuation of the trial of the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki. Prosecutors in the case last week tendered over 20 documents to prove the charges of false declaration of assets made against him. Some of the documents linked him with properties in Lagos, Abuja, the UK and the US, properties which the prosecution says he fails to declare as part of his assets. The prosecution also called its first witness, Mr. Michael Wetkas, an operative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, who testified that long after the Senate President ended his tenure as governor of Kwara State, the state continued to pay his salaries until October the 31st, 2015. The witness also tendered 5 petitions which led to the investigation of the Senate President. 4 of the petitions, written in 2012, appealed to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate the management and disbursement of revenue of the 16 local government areas in Kwara State. Lawyers to the Senate President, however, reserved their objections to the various documents tendered by the prosecution. They say the trial is an opportunity to separate the truth from lies. Staying at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, the trial of the former Minister of the Niger Delta, Mr. Godsday Orubebe, will continue on April the 14th. The first prosecuting witness, Samuel Madujemu, who served as an investigator in the Asset Tracing Department of the Code of Conduct Bureau, says the former minister was issued asset declaration forms 5 times between 2007 and 2011. According to Mr. Madujemu, intelligence assessment was conducted on the claims made by the former minister, and it was discovered that there were some other properties allegedly traced to him which he had failed to declare. Tribunal Chairman Mr. Danladi Umar had admitted the 5 assets declaration forms in evidence, and the witness will be cross-examined by the defense team on the next adjourned date. Still in Abuja, the High Court has fixed May the 3rd for the trial of former National Security Advisor Colonel Sambo Dasuki, who is facing charges of diverting funds meant for the purchase of arms for soldiers fighting insurgency in northeast Nigeria. Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf fixed the date and directed that the prosecution allow full access to lawyers to Colonel Dasuki during business hours of Monday to Friday to enable them take instructions and prepare defense for their client. Lead counsel to Colonel Dasuki, Mr. Joseph Daudu, had complained that he had no information on the whereabouts of his client except in court, prompting the judge to give the directive. Also in Abuja, a federal high court has refused an application by the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Olisa Metu, asking the court to disqualify itself from hearing the case against him on the grounds of bias. Justice Okon Abang, who ruled on the application, held that there was no substantial evidence given by Chief Metu in support of his allegation of bias. Chief Metu had hinged his application on the ground that the judge was his classmate and had given an indication suggesting that he would not get a fair hearing. It's an allegation the judge denies. The court also dismissed an application for a stay of proceedings pending an appeal. And in Lagos, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned 5 staff of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency (NAMA) before Justice Babs Kwewumi of the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. They were arraigned on a 21-count charge of conspiracy, forgery and money laundering. The accused persons are Ibrahim Abdul Salam, the managing director of the agency, Nnamdi Udoh, a former managing director who is said to be still at large, one Olumuyiwa Adegorite, the general manager procurement, Agbolade Segun, the general manager finance, and Clara Aliche, a director of finance. Also arraigned was Joy Ayodele Adegorite, the wife of the general manager procurement, and two companies, Ranville Investment Limited and Maltang Travels and Tours Limited. The accused persons allegedly conspired to steal the sum of 6.9 billion naira from Nama. They've, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges, and the court has ordered that they be remanded in prison custody till April the 12th, when their bail applications will be heard. And we round off at the Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos, which has granted a 2 million naira bail to former beauty queen Ibinabo Fibrasima, who was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for manslaughter. Bail was granted pending the determination of her appeal against the manslaughter sentence at the Supreme Court. The appeal court's verdict was split 2-1 in Ibinabo's favor. Justice Samuel Oseji, who read the judgment, held that there was nothing to show that the former beauty queen would jump bail. The court also held that there was enough evidence before it showing that Ibinabo had health challenges. Her application for bail was therefore found to have merit. Bail was granted in the sum of 2 million naira with 2 sureties and like sum. The court also held that the 2 sureties must be resident in Lagos and must each swear to an affidavit of means.